So we got some new Pixel phones in the studio, and well, you guys already know, I've been a fan of Pixel products in the past. Pixel 3, Pixel 2, original Pixel. I use the Nexus devices. I just have a lot of experience with the Google branded hardware, even before they put their badge on it. And of course, there's always been advantages to using Google branded Android devices in the sense that you're getting the latest and greatest software alongside with whatever hardware they happen to pair with it. Since they got involved in the hardware business directly, some things have happened that have been really interesting. Primarily, what they're doing in the camera department. Kirk uses his Pixel for all the social content that we post on Instagram, Twitter. Now, it's been boiled and baked into an entry-level Pixel product, the Pixel 3a and 3a XL. Now, I do not like the naming, all right? The A thing, it's not for me. I get it. They probably didn't want to call it light because they don't want to imply that it's not as good, but that would have been a lot easier. So in front of me, I've actually got a lot of Pixels here. I got the 3a in black, the 3a in white. This color here in the middle is called what? Purple-ish? Purple-ish. I'm actually going to pop open the standard 3A first. We're going to talk about the differences between this product and the pre-existing Pixel 3. It's the first time I'm aware of that Google has done a stopover product. We were talking previously in the studio about the fact that, well, now you have Apple with their 10R, you have Samsung with their S10e. The budget-minded smartphone is definitely, that's the era we're in now. I should talk about price. It's an important consideration. Kind of amazingly, this 3A is going to retail for $399. Will, I want to be clear. Are we talking $399? $399 USD. Now, the spec sheet, it's not going to blow you away. Okay? It's not like 800 series Snapdragon. It's only got 4 gigs of RAM. It's got a chin and a forehead on it. But when you think about it, you're getting the Pixel camera that's flagship level, arguably the best. I mean, for me personally, the most point and shoot, awesome results smartphone camera out there on planet Earth as of right now. In my experience, I used everything. That's just a golden camera. So to be able to approach that in a $399 product, I think that's the story of this product. And that's also why I think the 3A, not the XL, is probably the go-to. It's probably the one you should be interested in from a cost to performance ratio. Polycarbonate body, that's a fancy way of saying plastic, but it is polished and it has a smooth feel to it. It feels a little lighter maybe than the standard Pixel 3. Maybe that's because it's not metal. I'm not really sure. But this is a cost to performance thing. You make those adjustments to go down to this particular cost. The bottom, you notice it looks a bit different. That's because one of the speaker units is firing out of the bottom rather than the front of the device like it is on the standard Pixel 3. USB Type-C connector and some pretty crazy quick charge stats on this. According to Google, you're looking at like 7 hours of battery life and a 15-minute charge. Am I correct on that stat? That's unbelievable. I want to test that myself, and I will do so. Actually, I should let you know right at this moment, I have a new channel. I don't know, maybe you saw it, maybe you didn't. We shoot it downstairs. It's called Lou Later. It allows me to take deeper dives in a longer format style content. It's a podcast as well. I'll link it down in the description. I'll be doing a deep dive, conversational piece of content on this device, all these devices, right after this video. So you can click that link, go check that out afterwards, and we'll dive a little deeper because some people want to do that. Or you can get the audio only format if you're driving and you can't really learn about the Pixel 3a while you're driving on YouTube, so maybe you want to get the audio format. It's on iTunes. It's all over the place. Anyway, fingerprint scanner, it's still here. I mean, it's kind of like a Pixel. It's like a Pixel 3, obviously. That's why it's just a Pixel 3a. It's a lot like a Pixel 3. So we'll focus on the differences. You get a headphone jack. Ladies and gentlemen, 2019, it's a headphone jack. I like it. I mean, why not? There's a lot of people that still like this thing. I get emails all the time from people saying, I'm looking for a smartphone with a headphone jack, and I'm running out of recommendations. So it's kind of cool. At the $399 price point, they kept that around. You get this little adapter in the center here. This is for migration over to this device from your old one. And then your power brick is in here as well. Once again, it's a crazy claim. Does this have wireless charging though, Will? It does not. So they dropped the wireless charging. This is a trade-off. I love wireless charging, and I don't know if it's worth the extra cost. Something worth mentioning, since this is a stopgap device, it's kind of an in-between device. the current cost of the Pixel 3, Pixel 3 XL is not what it was when it launched. It's a little lower. On Amazon right now, you can find them for around $700. So the distance between the two shrunk a little bit, but I still think at $399, it's like it becomes a bit harder to justify upgrading or going with the Pixel 3 3XL over the A. Now, the first thing you're going to notice now that I have this booted up, you can see big forehead, big chin, kind of an antiquated design. The other thing you can notice, if I just tip this a little bit like this, you have a single front-facing camera, as opposed to the layout on the Pixel 3 and 3XL, where you had an ultra-wide and a more typical portrait lens. So if that's a big deal to you, that's another difference worth considering. The last major difference, of course, the processor, 600 series Snapdragon in here, as opposed to 800 series in the regular Pixel 3. Could be some battery improvements because of that, but you're not getting the top tier, top of the line Snapdragon. Worth noting. Not that you would expect it at $399, but definitely worth noting. Yes, it is an OLED panel. You are looking at FHD Plus on both the standard version 3A as well as the 3A XL. So the pixel density is actually a bit better on a smaller guy than the bigger one. Interestingly enough, another little personal behind the scenes note here. Both Kirk, Will, and myself, before I switched to some other device I had to test, all used the little pixel, not the big one. I started out on the XL. I wasn't a huge fan of the notch. In fact, I blacked out the notch through software. But somehow everyone ended up on the little guy, almost a throwback to a more one-handed functionality type of smartphone experience, stock Android experience, which is what a lot of people are looking for. In my experience, this is the only device I'll boot up and just use out of the box without a launcher, because I kind of want to see what Google is up to, the way they see the optimal Android experience taking place. I want to use it in that fashion as opposed to some skin from a manufacturer. Now, a lot of skins have gotten better, including what Samsung is doing with One UI. So this is less of an issue than it has been in the past. But still, on pretty much every other smartphone, I'll install Nova Launcher rather than using the stock version. Let's do a real quick comparison of the different color options. So that one is clearly white. I have an XL here in just black. And then I might as well also bring in the old version. It's hard to call it old at this point, but that's the standard Pixel 3 XL. You can see it's a bit different, actually. The new guy's a bit taller, just ever so slightly. SIM card tray moved around as well. The G is more pronounced. That's interesting. The G is more pronounced on the Pixel 3 XL when compared to the 3A XL. And then this one also has wireless charging, where the 3A does not. This is the interesting color to me. Right over here, they're calling it purple-ish. They did not do the not pink color in the 3A for whatever reason. I think they chose to do purplish instead. And you know what? To my taste buds, can I see your not pink? Oh, this has more of a tan look to it. Actually, that's kind of tough. Look at that. It's like 3 plays. This reminds me of attempting to like white balance for a video. This looks like a cool white balance. This looks like a warm one. And this one looks bang on. Now, the biggest visual difference comparatively is just the fact that on the XL model, you don't have a notch. On the left-hand side here, that's the Pixel 3 XL. On the right-hand side, it's the Pixel 3A XL. Again, the name is driving me nuts. Anyway, obviously, you have a bigger forehead here because there's no notch setup like there is on the 3XL. But people hated this notch. It's kind of an ugly notch. I mean, let's be honest. This notch became a meme. It looks like a face when you see the camera cutouts right there. Right at that angle right there. You see the... But you did get the benefit of a very wide-angle front-facing camera on this model. And it actually came in handy for me a couple times. But as far as the notch is concerned, I just blacked it out in software when I was using this as a daily device. The displays, I'd say, are comparable. I mean, they're both OLED panels. I would say the 3A display is a bit cooler to my eyeballs. Now, of course, cameras, that's what everyone's going to care about here. The interesting part when you're talking about Google's cameras, so much of it has to do with software compared to hardware. You do have to have a lens. You got to have a half-decent lens. Interestingly enough, The 3XL, in this case, looks a bit cooler in the whites. Boom. And then we'll take the light model, calling it light. And we can show Jack there. I mean, it's incredible. It's a great camera. It's great software. Again, this is on the A model. And it's very comparable. And what can I say? Smartphone cameras have gotten great. And they're getting great now at a lower price, at a lower cost than ever before. The front-facing camera, on the other hand, let's give that a quick shot. It's a lot of detail. Once again, I mean, this is your cheapest, this is your entry point into the Google Pixel camera. I'm such a fan of the Pixel camera software, in fact, that I actually installed it, the APK, onto my previous OnePlus device when I was daily driving the 6T. If you jump into one of these 3As, just expect to take good photos. I expect that will be the case. All right, now speakers. I'm going to give the edge to the 3XL over the 3AXL. I mean, part of it has to do with the fact that it's firing at me, but it's also just got a little bit more low end in it. A lot of phones have this style of implementation. There's very few that have dual speakers firing at you, but it's not a stereo implementation like you might think. I mean, they call it that, but in reality, each one of these is representing the audio differently. Most of the low end comes from here, some high end comes from there. Even if they separate it left, right channel, it's not equivalent force and frequency coming at you. So that's important to note. All right, rounding out the specs, the big guy, it has a 3,700 milliamp hour battery. The little guy, the 3A, has a 3,000 milliamp hour battery, 4 gigs RAM. So it's the same RAM that Google put into the standard Pixel 3 and Pixel 3 XL. Some people complained about that, especially since there's a lot of flagships out there with way more RAM right now. So what can I really say? I mean, it's difficult to break it all down. There is so much talk in the marketplace. I think Google actually came out themselves. Recently, there was a report that the Pixel 3 and 3 XL were not selling at the rate, at the pace of the original expectation. And there were people like me that actually liked the device. Of course, the device was not perfect. There were problems. I think that notch, for example, turned a lot of people off, especially on the bigger version. But a lot of it could have been price as well. This seems to be the case. We reported recently downstairs on the Lou Later channel in a deep dive video, I was talking about smartphone sales, and specifically Apple in the recent earnings that came out. They saw a decrease around 25%. From the same period last year. So maybe the global marketplace, the macro side of things is adjusting. Maybe people don't want to spend as much as smartphones as they have in the past, or maybe smartphones themselves have escalated too far, too high in price. And now this is the kind of thing that people are looking for. It's quite possible. So the 3AXL, what's the price point, Will? Just remind me. $479. Okay, so the XL model is going to come in at $479, and the standard model, this guy right here, is going to come in at $399. So it's an $80 difference. For my money, I'm like, if I'm just going cost to performance, they're essentially the same thing. Yeah, the display's bigger here, but the resolution, I mean, the pixel density is actually lower. You have a slightly bigger battery, but you got to power a bigger screen. I get it. Maybe you want to watch videos bigger, but then you sacrifice some one-handed functionality. And then there's, of course, the $80, which you could do something else with. You could buy yourself some headphones, possibly, that you really like. Especially you could use that headphone jack if you want to spend it on some wired headphones. So I think the 3A is the value point. I think $399 is compelling. I'm happy that this is a portion of the market that's getting serviced properly now. Because I had those experiences with the Pixel camera on the previous model, and I really liked it. But as far as recommending it to people, they had to be in that flagship territory. And then it was like, maybe they should just get a Samsung device. It was tough, or an iPhone for that matter. It was tough to play at that end of the spectrum. But coming down here now, getting a Google branded device at $399, it's in a totally different territory. What it's up against now in the international marketplace might be tough. Places like India, where you have Pocophone and various other high value, cost to performance type of devices. But in the North American realm, where people are very, very comfortable and aware of the Google branding, this is a big play. It's a big move. It's a type of move that I think Apple should take note of. I think it'll be really interesting to see what Apple's take on a $399 device would look like for the North American market. Anyway, that's enough for this video. It's been an unboxing, all the colors. Holy smokes, we got the cases here as well. I can't talk about it all here. We got to keep it concise to a certain degree. Holy smokes. But as I mentioned earlier, I'm going to be downstairs on the Lou Later set. I'll put a link in the description to it. If you want to go comprehensive, if you're a deep diver yourself, head over there. You can subscribe to that channel. We may even do a live. What do you think? We could even do a live broadcast, maybe take some questions. We can do that down there. We're not set up for that up here. So anyway, go check that out. Pixel 3a, 3a XL. There's more to learn. There's more to know. Hopefully there's more to love. We'll find out.